Good morning, everybody. All right. Guess what I've been doing for 5 minutes? Talking to myself for not clicking the button. Okay. So let's just get to it. Most important, what I was going through here is the levels that you're at right here and how I got there. So I'm going to show you how to do this super quick, and then I'll get into the indexes because I think that that's the most important thing. It's very clear that at some point you'll have some kind of pullback. You're just not going to go straight up, but this thing's going to be on fire today. It's already hitting a lot of the volume scans, and it's probably going to continue to. So we're going to have to watch how this thing plays out. But I do think that's going to be the case here. I don't think this thing's going to go away anytime soon. So we'll have to see how this goes. But I think you're in pretty decent shape if you were playing it. I bought it the other day, actually yesterday, just because the volume was insane. That said, you're just going to want to see if you can get a better price on it, in my opinion, than chasing it. I'm really apprehensive to chase anything in this market, quite frankly. But it's just, just an outright short squeeze. They didn't invent air or anything, and I think that's super important to get. I do want to show you how to do this so super quickly, because people always say to me, like, how do you get to your levels? The easiest way to do this is to find the base and then the breakout of the base, which clearly would be here. But you don't know how that's going to close. So you go off the previous day, and then you use the low of that base. So, and the low of the base would be here, because you don't know that that's going to be the low of the base. So you have to go off what you know, right? And so if you just drop this to here and then you use that, you're going to get these levels up here. And I like doing it on the weekly. And this should be a little tighter because I had it drawn a little bit better, but that should really be around that 18-ish level. And think of it more of an area than an exact science, especially when you go on the weeklies. But you have the potential to get up there for sure. And that's really how I say it. Now, whether or not you do remains to be seen, but you're getting a lot of volume in there today, like a lot. And it's only picking up steam. A couple other names that are really picking up steam this morning are the CRW, the CoreWeave. It's fascinating to me. They're selling it down this morning. So, you want to watch this stuff and watch how it opens. There's no borrow right now, guys, on this. So you can't, like, maybe you have a borrow somewhere, but my really rule of thumb, I have different accounts, different places, but my rule of thumb is if I can't borrow on IBKR, then it's super hard to borrow. It's not an easy borrow if I can't borrow there. So keep that, that's definitely something to keep in mind. I do think overall, you're going to have super light volume this week. I do think that that's going to be the case here. In regards to the Qs, and I think that this is super important, I would watch, not only yesterday's close, but which you're not able to get above, which is really like right around here. And then you're watching this level and how we're fading. I would watch the low of that flag. I'm not so sure that everything's just going to be, hunky-dory today. The kids still say hunky-dory, right? One of the things I look at, and I didn't really go over this too much yesterday, but if you look at this, let me see if I can find it really quickly, because it is important, and you should look at it. If you go, this is super aggressive this morning. I'm sorry. If I go and take a look at this and get rid of this here, and you just used like the ADL line, all you did was just your advanced decline line just dropped all day. It was very specific what they were buying. So, and you are up here. Yeah, don't get me wrong. You're on a tear on that with it, right? But you are on a tear with it. So you can see from where you were down to where you are. But I just thought it was interesting. Like, well, why are we doing that? Like, we shouldn't be doing that on the day. And you can just see it on the 3 or the 1. And it's just like down, like where before you're like, oh, okay, well, we gap down and then the advanced decline's getting better. All right, the advanced decline's getting better. And then you look at yesterday, it's like, no. And so I think what why do you care about this versus here where it just looks like it's just going to rip everyone's head off, right? But why do you care about this? Because I think you have to be super specific on the names that you're looking at today. I think you have to look at the names that are above their previous close. And if you're not above your previous close, I'm not so sure how much you're going to want to play with stuff because you're going to have light volume. And the volume, I think, is going to get absolutely anemic Thursday and Friday. So, like really, really anemic. And then you're going to go into next week where you're going to have NVIDIA, which is going to be absolutely huge. But I look at it like what's really the catalyst right now that's going to propel us forward. And I'm not so sure that I say it, that I see that catalyst. Well, here it goes. Oh, now you're up 20. There it goes. Wow, you're not getting any like they're hosed. I wonder how much the borrow is out there on this thing right now. How much there is to borrow? Let's go to the 5 so I can see the darn thing. And let's put this pre and post back in. I wonder how much the borrow is. I have less than half left at this point, but I think 18 is pretty much a lock. Can I borrow to sell this? Let's just see. Let's go out there and try and sell a bunch of it. See what they say to me. Let's go and try and sell it. Try and sell and see what they say to me. Yeah, no problem. I could sell as much as I want. I can sell as much. I can short as much as I want. That's interesting. So does this get more wild as more people shorted? It's really interesting, isn't it? No, that's to me. So there's a bar coming, and it'll reset and go from there. But if your name did not get above yesterday, then I'd watch it. CoreWeave couldn't move faster. It could not have moved faster yesterday. It was like 5 minutes and you were back over the open. It was crazy what it did. And so they're the names I would look for. NVIDIA was just straight out buying all day. And then by the end of the day, I think you had the first 15 minutes and then that was it, or the first 10 minutes. And then that was it. If you didn't buy in the first 5-10 minutes, and I never got a retest. And that was troubling to me, frankly, that I never got a retest. So I don't like that. And I don't like what I'm seeing with the advanced decline line. So I'm pretty apprehensive here on things. And, I find these kinds of days, like these days can be really trepidatious for newer traders because they're like, oh, I missed yesterday. So when it gaps down, I'm going to buy, or when things are bidding down low, I'm going to get involved. And then they just get their butt handed to them and they don't know why. It's super important to point this out. I think it's super important to point it out. So I'm going to be super careful today. I would look at this kind of stuff, and I'll get into names in a moment, but I think you have to think process today. Like if this was your high yesterday, how come you can't stay above your high? I would be watching the pre-market highs and the previous day highs like a hawk. And if you can't stay above those, man, great day to just lock in the profits from yesterday and, go get a nice, I don't know what you crazy kids eat, like a bagel or whatever you guys eat, and kind of go from there. I would just be super careful today. And I'd be more interested in the secondary names that are running on days like today. And you are seeing a lot of that kind of action, like RKLB and stuff, but they're already fading. And it makes me wonder what the market's going to be like off the open. The higher high here is super interesting on Tesla, and you can watch these levels very closely here. But I have no volume here. Like there's nothing here. I don't have huge volume. And, as I was saying, if I don't have big volume today, I'm going to be super careful buying anything that's breaking out. I bought this first swing at like 240. I've done nothing with it. Well, long-term swing. I've done nothing with it. I don't feel the need to chase this thing for $3-4 up here. With the hope, boy, I really hope you go back to Friday's level. Like your risk versus return here is really bad. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make money with it, but it's really, really bad. So, you can clearly get back down here to 342 if somebody sneezes, and this is going to be your target, which has to be because you still can't get over Friday's level. So what are you? 2.5. Let's call it 3. Let's call it your super slippery. 3 to 3, 1 to 1. Like it's a waste of time. I'm already exhausted talking about it. So you do have Google's I/O today. We should probably get that out. Also, I sent out a handful of invitations that people that were on the wait list, real small list because I got a lot of people that wanted to come in. So I did like a micro invitation last night. So if you are on the list, just check your email. It would have gone out last night. And just like a small batch because we just got a bunch of new people in, and I talk to everybody that joins the community. Actually, I give them the opportunity. I don't. You're not forced to talk to me, but I'd like doing the onboarding calls because I get to know the people that are entering our community. I don't know. I mean, they're going to come out with something new. That's the cat's pajamas, like they're supposed to, right? And I would watch that pretty closely today. And then NVIDIA I think they gave their keynote yesterday. Someone either saw it or we pre-read it. I haven't listened to it yet. And, to me, these are your big levels, but it's already telling you like 135. It's completely pulling a Gandalf, you shall not pass. So I don't know that there's a lot to do there. I don't know. When I have action like I have today or have yesterday, it's the secondary names that benefit the most from days like today. If you ever look at this room and like how many people you get come in this room, right? Like the ultimate high level is like, and I gotta stand, my legs are killing me. But I don't know. But how's that go? Okay, so now we're stopping at this 105. The head's not cut off as much anymore. I don't think it's cut off anymore. All right. Well, this is what we got. It's the secondary names that move. When you have like super light volume on like holiday weekends, and I'm just going to tell you, everybody's fried after what you had from China and then the Moody's downgrade. Like people are just fried. So they made their moves and that's it. I can tell by the room. Like if the room's got 6, 7, 8 in it, something like that amount of people, I'm talking about our public pre-market I'm going over right now. And I think it's at like 350. Like the average is probably in the 4s. So I can always tell by that where people are mentally checked out for the week. And you can see it in the volume in the names. And you didn't have broad-based buying yesterday. You had speculative buying, which is very, very different. So I just want to point that out. I don't know how much time I'll have for questions today. But I will say this, expect Thursday, Friday to be like a ghost town. And sometimes they're fun because you can make money off of it. But I don't expect a whole heck of a lot here. And quite frankly, I don't even think I have to worry about anything more than that today. I don't have any real news coming that I feel that I have to pay attention to. Like what's coming? I've got some earnings, but it's all retail nonsense, right? So, what are they going to say? It's better now because we don't have to worry about the tariffs. I mean, okay. You got some companies already coming out and saying that kind of stuff this morning, right? It is what it is. I actually don't know why I wouldn't mark that off instead. And if I can tell you another level that I would watch for any of the names you bought yesterday, it's the low of the flag because they all have the same trade. It's all the same trade. So I would watch this. I really hate when I have weak coffee. Not weak, but like cold coffee. Give me a second to nuke this. I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry, guys. So I guess we'd go over some of the earning names you guys are going to want to talk about. But like Mondays, it was like kind of like, okay, like, who cares? Whatever, dude. Home Depot had a pretty good talk. They don't see the reason that they're going to be remotely affected by this, which was kind of interesting because they do a lot with China. And they're like, we're cool. We're totally good. We don't feel the need that we're going to have to raise prices. This could bode very well for Lowe's, actually, because Lowe's comes out usually after. Yeah, pardon me. Lowe's comes out after. So Lowe's is supposed to come out tomorrow. It usually bodes pretty well. Whatever one does, the other does. Home Depot is more contractors. Lowe's is more do-it-yourself kind of people. It is kind of interesting that Home Depot could have come out and said we need to raise prices, and they didn't. And if you look at Home Depot and you look at like Louisiana Pacific, and you go back and take a look at Home Depot, and then you look at Louisiana Pacific, because it's all lumber, like Louisiana Pacific and Home Depot trade very much in line with one another. I don't know, they have lumber futures in here, do they? Yeah, we just do it this way, LBR. You'll see that those charts between like lumber, LPX, Home Depot, they all look very similar. And so I find that interesting because like Home Depot, they make more money when they have a ton of lumber and lumber prices go up, they make more money because of inventory. It's like a car business. All those used cars, like Carvana goes up when the inventory prices rise on what they have. So super important. But I think that could bode well for Lowe's, frankly. The question is the consumer spending more money? And I think they must be, because Home Depot deals with the contractor, and contractors are and they're telling you the home business is slow. So if Home Depot did that, Lowe's might do that. This might be an outlier. It might be worth paying attention to when they come out. But is there really anything here that's like, oh, I got to get involved or I got to deal with? Not really. And that's going to take you into like Tuesday night. Like you got some big dogs tonight. Like PANW could be huge. They could really be like, this could be this. This could be big. This could be the cat's pajamas, or as I like to say, the ant's pants. So this could be a big one. Because see how you're flipping? Like it's so important to watch these levels. See what remember Itchy's special level when he came out and said I cut rates and I don't know why. Right here on the 18th. See how you're just sitting around here and you're just eating up supply? That tells you they're accumulating this before the earnings. So this could be a big one. Toll Brothers, what are they going to say? Market sucks. People aren't buying houses because they don't know if they're going to be paying, $700 for an avocado. I don't really view that as a lot. And then we have Target tomorrow, and Target's just the gift that keeps on giving. And you never know what you're going to get. You just don't. The past couple have been absolute, utter bloodbaths. And I'm not sure it's going to go away. Target does not have Walmart's infrastructure, and Target does not have the way that Walmart does online. It's nowhere near as good. So I think there's some stuff there. Wix is always fascinating to watch. You're coming way off that. You had some really good quarters here, so that might be a decent one. And we'll go from there. What else we got? It's 8:30. That's fine. It's 8:51. What do you got for me? Thanks, Hot Pants. All right, let's go. Let's get to it. Let's take some questions here. I'm just going to do like a lightning round to get through a bunch of stuff. You bring up a really good point on the 20-year. You definitely want to watch this auction today, because the idea that this is going to be a great auction after the downgrade is kind of crazy. I was short the 20-year. I covered it. I made some money, very little yesterday. And this was super telling to me, like super here, watch. And what's crazy about it is it's giving it all back this morning. So they're not expecting a really strong reaction. And I'm glad you brought it up, but they're not really expecting a very strong reaction to the 20-year bond market. And maybe that's the thing that finally hits reality today with this. That could be the case here. 20 years at what? 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm pretty sure that's when it is. And they don't do them. They do the short. They do the short one at 11:30. So you're going to want to watch that short. That could be a mover today, John. Like that could actually change the trajectory of things. Pretty strong. The wing I like a lot. Bull, like which one you look at? DPZ. That bull's moving today. The question is, their expansion's coming from international. Does that help or hurt them right now? I don't know. I don't know. I find this one. I really like this company. I find it super hard to trade. Like super hard to trade. So it's just to me, it's like one of those companies like Spotify. Like you try to trade Spotify, it's like, why bother? Just buy it and forget you own it. I don't feel that way about the pizza companies, because I don't think people are eating that way that much anymore, but maybe they are. I don't know. I'm like super picky with pizza. Like it's got to be like really, really good for me to do it. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask about this name. Wing's interesting. QBTS is on fire, Mitch. So MVST SKWD. I don't know what's going on there. Skyward Specialty Insurance Group, any of these types of companies, Jesus. Yeah, I mean, like any of these kinds of companies, if you have a long-term outlook, look, no one's going after the insurance companies right now. Like nobody. No one's even talking about it yet. They're going after health insurance, but they're not going after these kinds of names. And it's definitely worth paying attention to. I mean, one of the easiest trades I had on the year was buying Travelers when it blew up over, nobody wanted to be in it because of the California wildfires, even though they really had very little liability. We had like super easy trade in these. And you'll see these names, like they're all setting up. Like look at them, like Zell, Zezel, whatever, however this does it, Root, this thing's like a monster. Just grab the tail. It's so crazy that this like Lemonade just can't get it together because they're in that business, but they're more of a reseller, right? Maybe that's why. But you would think they'd get it together. But yeah, anything like that, man, they're on fire, and no one's going near them. Like no one's touching it. This looks great. I don't know anything about it, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask. But from a chart standpoint, yeah, it's really hard to not, like when you see that, right? Where does it go? What do they do? I don't know enough about it. But from a chart standpoint alone, I can already tell you have huge volume. I don't even like need to look at it. You can say it, right? Like you had huge volume that broke that out and just got rid of everybody, or you wouldn't have been able to get through that. You just wouldn't have been able to. So yeah, it's impressive. I don't know why it's moving the way it is. I'd watch that level like a hawk. IBM looks fantastic. Yeah, that QBTS is just going to be an absolute monster today. You're going to be all over the place. They're the kinds of names that move today, by the way, guys. Just FYI. They are. So what's up, Jacob? What do you got for us? eBay, EWS. Let's do EWS first. I do think companies like this or countries like this are just going to be on fire, because what's happening is the lower of restrictions to get chips, hands down, is definitely something that's going to play into Asia's hands as well. And you're going to see Singapore, who is very favored by the US, and not most favored, but very favored by the US. They're going to have access. And so it's going to get China access. But quite frankly, I think where this is all going is to have no non-access to things. I think that's where this whole thing's going, but I don't know that yet. But yeah, I think they're going to benefit greatly from it. So 100%, I'd be looking at that. And what else do we have here? eBay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's there. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I get it. I'm just not feeling it. I think Singapore is fascinating. What's up, Alan? UNH, I'd be super careful of. I went through this morning in the private video. I'd watch that really carefully. I'm just going to tell everyone, I'd be super careful there. There's a day of coming of reality setting in there. The coins, I'm wondering, is coin the play or is hood the play on this move? Because like coin came out and said, we're going to go after these people and we're going to get them. Bro, they've been in your backyard for 5 months and you didn't even know? Like, how much data they have and you're going to get them? Like, they've been in their system since January, in the crypto system since January. Like, that's scary. So, I mean, they've always had problems coin, but that's got like, you're not insured there. You're not SIPC. So like when that's gone, it's on the company. And I'm not saying that they're not going to live up to it, but you have insiders at the company. No wonder they have like the DOJ involved. You have insiders at the company selling hackers information. Like, what percentage of the company did you fire yesterday? 0? I mean, the amount of people that should have been fired over this, and I haven't seen anything. Maybe there's a headline. Someone can drop it to me, either in the community but like, I mean, that entire security firm should have been like, whoever does their back office and is supposed to be in charge of like cybersecurity, like that whole community should be fired, like period. So it's crazy. From a technical standpoint, you could try. It doesn't usually trade normal. That's what makes it so hard. Like you break out and then you get the sideways bar. You break down and then you're like, my short's definitely going to work this time. Bam, up 20. Like it's not an easy trade, man. Oh, it's definitely going to fall apart this time. It's certainly going to break down. It's broken my neckline. It's below this. Wham, up. Like it's not an easy trade. The best way to think about this trade from my perspective, Alan, is like, which way does coin have to move in order to screw the shorts the most? That's the way, not even the longs, but the shorts. Like, oh, you're down? Oh, cool. We're going higher. Oh no, we took out that new low. Oh, we're definitely going to go higher. Like it's just maddening if you think about it, even on like these micro moves. So I don't know, man. It's not one I play with. If you want to get technical, you'd want to flip the doji or here because you have your 3-bar pattern, which is probably what you're looking at, Alan. Like how you're up inside day, flip the doji, go, right? Go for it, man. You know, I don't know. I'd be more inclined to buy Hood because every time that Hood's getting to this level, and I can only buy so many names, but you know, we talked about this in Saturday's video, and I'd watch Saturday's video if you haven't. But you're getting to this level where you start looking at trending markets versus non-trending markets, right? You're in a trending market again, and look at how the Hood's responding to that 5-day over and over again. Bam, hits the 5-day, rips, 5-day, rips. Like, they want to be in this. For whatever reason, this one they want to be in. I think it's an easier trade. I'm just going to go through this super quickly. What's up, Spurg? What's up, Kev? SIG, NXT, FTAI might be interesting. Let's go see what we got there. Anything where these guys have huge short positions in, because I think that they're getting absolutely killed on some of their shorts. It's interesting that you can't really get above this level when this news came out, and you're trying your butt off right now. So maybe you do, and then you can see here as well, right? NXT might be interesting too because of what's going on there. I don't like those kinds of trades. NAGE, that whole space looks great, Matt. Like, that whole space looks great. Like, they're just monsters right now, right? I think a lot of these bioscience names are completely undervalued. I would need to know more about what the company does, but like, man, these things are just so undervalued. A lot of them are. You can just see this from like that April 8th, and they're like, hey, we're not going to do any tariffs. Have you had a down day since then? Or we're going to pause the tariffs? Like, you really haven't had anything since then. Yeah, I like all those names. I mean, and you're not going to get me to hear a bad thing about it. I own all three. You know, what's up, Steven? Let's see how far I can go through these. I would be real careful with healthcare. CoreWeave, you can't even short right now. There's no borrow. And I don't think people realize that they're going to get called today or have the potential to get called today. I don't think people even realize it yet. I know a couple guys in the room realized it because they DM me. They're like, hey, can you borrow this? Because some guys are short. I'm long. I don't really care. It takes the other side of my trade. It is what it is. But I'm like, when I go to IBKR, if I can't borrow at IBKR, it pretty much tells me that you're there. I just don't like when it's like, I don't mind cold coffee when it's cold, but when it goes hot to cold, yeah, it's like a major pet peeve. One of those fancy warmers, I don't know. And it's another thing on my desk. Lulu could be good. Bros could be good. I like Bros a lot. Hims looks fine. I don't see an issue there. I'm just doing this super fast even there. I think it could be the IO space. You know, you have this Google conference today. You have Computex today. You have a lot going on today. It could be those. What's up, Tom? Good morning from Phoenix. People like Phoenix. They love that. They love Scottsdale too. Yeah, Wolf. No, and it's so crazy, Oren. Like, it's not working at all, right? Like, and it just. Thank you. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, this should actually be moving. Like, no tariffs. You need their product. Like, it seems like an absolute no-brainer, but it is what it is. All right, guys. Remember, the volume's going to get lighter and lighter as the week goes on. Trade to win.